I slammed my apartment door closed and fumbled with the keys. I was incredibly late for work, and with marches being so thin, well, I couldn't even think about it. They were looking for any excuse to get rid of people, and not even my 10 years of service would protect me if I drew their attention. Preoccupied as I was, I didn't notice myself careening across the vestibule until I crashed into the building's front door. Damn it. I had tripped over a roll of what felt like a newspaper. I took the time to throw the offending rag in a recycle bin. Useless rubbish. Who would leave a blank, pure black newspaper laying in the middle of the floor? That vestibule is an entrance I share with neighbors on either side of me. I shot glares at their doors before storming off to work. Thanks to a merciful bus driver, I eventually made it. Turns out I forgot my pass. The 4-story office building my call center operated out of was shuttered. Those bastards didn't even email me. We must have gone under. I had plenty of time to weigh my legal options on the long walk home. Now, I'm normally a fairly mellow person, and I'm not making excuses, but this was the worst day I could think of offhand. So, when the lady in 2A, Shannon, ambushed me with outlandish accusations, I was already seeing red.
What the hell is this?
She screamed in my face, waving that black paper over her head. Look, Shannon, I'm not really in the mood to deal with anyone's crazy, so if you'd kindly move.
You think this is funny?
She jabbed the paper with her finger for emphasis.
You think this is an okay thing to joke about?
What? You're not upset that I threw out your garbage, are you? I said, trying to get past her. Her face grew even more red.
I have no idea what this is. I just found it in the bin. Is the midnight paper your creepy little arts and crafts project? Look at this headline. Sagittarius Strangler slays single shut-in.
I just stared at her. If I hadn't have been so angry, I might have felt concerned for her. She exploded into reading further down the blank page.
Police looking for suspects in home invasion. Shannon Farley was found dead in her apartment on Oker Street. The county morgue has confirmed that the cause of death is asphyxiation. Insiders report the 26-year-old had strange markings on her neck, one of which resembled the symbol for Sagittarius. What do you make of that, new guy?
I'd lived in this building longer than she had. She was completely off her rocker.
Then look at this.
She flipped through the papers to near the non-existent end.
My obituary. Shannon Farley will be dearly missed, blah, blah, blah. She is survived by her parents, Teresa and Ken, and her brother Rick. How do you know my family's names? Are you going through my mail?
I shook my head. I don't know what you're on, but there's nothing written on that paper.
Well, that settles it. You're full of shit. This is as good as a death threat, you know.
I'd had enough. I don't know what you're trying to pull, but you do not want to fuck with me. Now I was the one encroaching on her personal space. Get out of my way. She snatched her hefty lanyard. I hear those damn keychains jingle every time she comes and goes. She turned and went for her door.
You're sick,
she yelled before disappearing into her apartment. Crazy broad. I finally made it home. It was all I needed, some deranged neighbor out to get me. First things first, I had to check on my work situation to see if they said anything. My computer was acting strange from the get-go. There wasn't a prompt to enter my password, and my email wasn't saved to the browser. I put in my email and it tried to sign me up for one. Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, all my socials said my accounts did not exist. I'd been hacked. I called my bank to secure my account. They said I didn't pass authentication. They wouldn't tell me anything. I was freaking out by this point. I dialed my mom. Call could not be completed as dialed. I burned through nearly every contact on my phone, all of them. Call cannot be completed as dialed. I felt a surge of isolation when suddenly the people in my life weren't a click away. It was like nothing outside my apartment existed. Or maybe that I never existed. But that was absurd. I remembered moving in, my first kiss, the time I ripped my pants in grade school. Every memory that wasn't from today became increasingly blurry the more I tried to recall it. But I'm telling the story right now. You're listening to it. I'm real. I'm real. I was struggling with those thoughts when I heard that all too familiar jingle. That bitch next door was scurrying out, probably to make my life even more miserable. I even considered the possibility that she was responsible for all this strangeness. The messed up stuff she'd said were the only things I could hold in razor-sharp focus. I burst out my door to confront her before she could enact whatever plan she'd concocted. She was just locking up and jumped at the sight of me. Without a word, she juggled through her stupid lanyard looking for something. She finally found a mace keychain and leveled it at me. I cupped my hand over the mace and twisted her wrist, ripping away the lanyard. Now she had the audacity to mace me? Enraged, I pushed her back into her apartment. She fell on her hands and struggled to get up. I kicked her in the back, her face bouncing off the floor. I was still holding her keys. I pulled the ends taut, then swung them around her neck like a garrote. The many rings, keys, and novelty keychains ripped into her throat. She was trying to ruin my life. It was like nothing else mattered. Nothing made more sense than to end Shannon Farley. I pulled up with all my might and held it there until long after her feet stopped kicking. I rolled her over to revel in her lifeless eyes. The imprint of her Sagittarius keychain already starting to bruise. Thank you for listening. You can probably handle another horror story, right?